Hello everyone. Today we're going to be looking at the HighJump OmniTech sales solution to process some delivery orders. So in here, I'm in my tablet mode here, I'm looking at my Killer beers from Killer Bunnies, and on the right hand side with my menu I'm going to go over to service account to start things off. And I can see on this service account over here I've got Pita Pit, Pizza Delight, a couple of different deliveries to do. We're going to look at Pita Pit to start off with. And you can see even before I go in there, I've started to look at that menu. I've got some notes that I have to help me maintain my service level. For example, watching out for low-hanging lines. And if I have to update that, I can go in here and do this in the device as well and say, oh, I don't know, park on the west side of the lot. And I can save that. So if I'm not running the route next week and someone else is delivering to Pita Pit, they know what they need to do. I've also got some messages that have been sent down, so I know I've got some shelves to take care of and service areas, different things like that. So let's say I'm going to choose Pita Pit as my first service stop. I'm going to click on that, and it pops up with a message that's dispatched down. So I've got a shelf set or a planogram that's warning me this is what I want, this is my goal for the Pita Pit service. I want to create something that looks like that. And I actually have a few messages here, so I'm going to hit next. I see I've got another shelf set, maybe a video to look at, and some points on the pre-order. And then a final reminder about new packaging. So I'm going to hit continue and go into my Pita Pit. And the first thing I can do before I go and do anything, I can go and look at the map to see where I'm going to go. I could maybe collect a payment if I wanted to on here. So if I want to go into payment, I can go into allocations and choose the types of payments I want to collect if I'm doing that. Or I could do an unapplied and just create cash unapplied. So if I'm not going to do the payment, or I'm not going to look at the map to figure out where I'm going to go, I could go in and actually go in and do my delivery. So I'm going to create an invoice. I'm going to go in here and create invoice, and I can see I've actually got two potential options here. I could create a new invoice as if I was selling off the truck, but today we're doing deliveries. So we're actually going to deliver this pre-sold order. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this guy right here. And when I do that, it comes in and says, oh, well, here's my pre-sold order. I've got these 5 lines and I've sold 10 of each of them. And this is a pretty simple order that we're going to deliver. It's not very complicated, but maybe I want to do a couple of other things. Maybe I'm going to upsell. Maybe I'm going to capture inventory. Maybe I could do different things while I'm in the field. So the first thing I'm going to do is take a shelf inventory. So I'm going to look at these shelf inventories, and I can do this a couple of ways. I can click on this little plus signs and take the different shelf inventory. And then I can use that information with our predictive ordering algorithm and do some calculations to say, okay, I've got such a quantity on the shelf, I've got historical sales, I've got different details on here. All of that can help me calculate what I should be selling or what I should be delivering the next time. And I could do that a couple ways, like I mentioned with the plus sign, or I could click on this and go through and say, all right, well, this one really was a 4. These ones are right. I'm going to change this one to 3. My last one I'm going to change to a 1. And I've just manipulated that data to another way to show me what I've actually got on the shelf. Now maybe I also want to manipulate what I'm going to sell. So I could change my my sale quantity on here. And I could do that through sales magic and just say, well, I'm going to bump up that and bump up that one and bump up that one a bit more. And then maybe this last one was too high. Maybe I need that to be a 5. I'm going to knock that down. All of that has been accomplished through what I consider to be sales magic. I have it to pre-sold order. I wanted to deliver this. I look at it and I actually have additional stock on the truck that I can support this with and go and do that. But maybe I'm not sure. Maybe I've forgotten what's on that truck. So maybe I better look at this and go down and say, well, here's my image of my product that I'm looking at, and here's my build to on there for route book. And that's interesting information, but it's not key for what I need right now. I need to know what's on the truck. So I can click on inventory and see, oh, actually I've got 859 of them on the truck. So I've got lots. Or maybe another question might be, instead of that, I might want to look and see what's on my warehouse side and see what my on-hand is in the warehouse. Or maybe I want to see my historical deliveries to see what I've been delivering on my past stops that I've been in there. And as I go through the different items, I can see the different quantities that I have on hand, the different inventories. And notice in my last visits, I have the ordered quantity, I have the inventoried quantity, and the delivered. So if I am doing that tool using the predictive ordering, I have all that information to say, this is what you asked for, this is what actually got delivered, and I took a shelf inventory while I was there to assess, am I overstocking the shelves? Am I missing out on possible demand? What's happening with this? So I've got a couple of different options on here. As I go along here, I might say, you know what? I also want to sell something new. So maybe I need to go in here and I'll say, well, I want to sell something new. I have to find an item, and I'm going to go in and let's say I find it by, maybe I want to sell a keg of beer. So I'm going to add, going through in here, I've got to add different products. I could go through and add that on there. Maybe I want to add some miscellaneous items as well. Maybe I'm saying, you know what, those aren't right. I'm going to add a 12-pack instead, and I'll add, let's go down here and choose some Arthur's Black. So I add these different items that I'm going to add to my pre-sold order and do additional sales. And that's great. I can do that. I could also go in here and collect returns. I choose my reason code for that return. Maybe I've got some stale product. And if it is stale, I can go in and say, all right, well, it's going to add a couple returns of these items. Maybe I'm going to give some free products or samples. I can choose why. Maybe I'm doing a donation or a special or something like that. And I can add different products that way. Add a couple of those. And then I'm going to minimize this down here and say, okay, I'm pretty happy. I can see I've got 54 cases going out and 2 cases coming back through returns. Okay, fine. If I tap on that, I can actually see the dollar value as well. So I can switch between dollar value and cases on my view. And if I'm happy, I say, okay, I'm going to deliver this. Yay for me. I'm going to go over, I'm going to hit finalize invoice. And well, here I've got a pop-up saying, well, you've taken a pre-sold order and I've changed the quantity. Why did you do that? You know, that was supposed to be a 10 and I've actually decreased it to a 5. So I have to choose my reason code. So why am I going to do that? Well, I changed it because the customer declined their original quantity. And I have a number of items that I've increased. So I've got all these guys and I say, all right, well, let's just be a little bit lazy. I'm going to choose all of them and say, well, I've got extra truck stock. That's why I did that. So I've now adjusted why I've made changes to my pre-sold order so I can track that down and do what I need to do here. So as I go ahead and I hit continue, it's going to give me, are you sure I want to do this? Well, yes, I am sure. And now I've got an extra pop-up saying, well, there's something wrong with this. Well, what's wrong? Well, sure enough, I got an item on here that I actually have to track either a lot code or a serial number or a code date or whatever that may be. And I can do that with weight, I can do that with lot codes, I can do that expiration dates. This one happens to be a weight item on here. I'll say, yes, I've got it. And it says, oh, well, my weight has to be between 4.5 and 6.5. So if I had a specific value in here that I was expecting, I can go and validate against that so that I don't make a mistake and do a fat finger error. So I go ahead and hit click on that one, say, yes, I've got it. And now my last pop-up comes up, or another pop-up comes up and says, hey, I've got items that are eligible for promotion. Well, yeah, I better look at those too. So let's go back into our screen and have a look at our promotions. Go into our sales screen and I can see, oh, well, here's a couple of different items on here that I actually have upsell opportunities. So maybe I look at that promotion alert and I see, well, if I order 49 more, I'm going to get 10% off. Well, that sounds great, except I only sold 11. So can I really sell 49 more? So this is an illustration of our proactive sales techniques and how we can do those alerts to do upsell opportunities. But what I haven't turned on is our threshold logic. And to make this truly effective and avoid being labeled as spam, I want to do a buy-in quantity, but I also want to do a threshold to say, only give me my alerts if, for example, you buy 90%. So if you've got a buy 100, get 10% off, I'd need to sell 90 before I get that pop-up alert to say, yeah, I've got this opportunity to upsell. Otherwise, on this 7 or 8 line order, I've got 5 messages to say, hey, I have extra promos. Pretty quickly, that's going to become spam, and I'm not going to like that. So we're not going to do that upsell today because I can't really sell 49 more when I only sold 11 to begin with. I'm going to finalize my invoice. I'm going to ignore my warning. And I'm going to go through here, calculates it through to my pricing screen. I can see that I actually did apply a discount for a couple of these items. And then I've got additional green and red arrows on here that gives me more, it's indicating I have options that are even more flexible. So I click on that. I can see that I actually have a price range that goes as low as $38.30 and as high as $67.03. So I've got gouge protection on the top end and I've got margin protection on the bottom end. So when I do that, I can make sure that if I want to, I can give my field users access to do this and manipulate pricing to make sure they get the sale and do that delivery and are successful, but they can't erode my margins and they can't gouge that customer. I'm going to hit save. I see the exact same windows for returns, same image for samples, except the price for samples is 0 because it's a free good. So I'm going to go ahead and hit continue on here. It has happened as this particular customer wants the invoice to be split a couple of different ways, maybe by brand, looks like a little bit by credit as well, so the returns are split out. I'm going to post these invoices rather than looking at the individual drafts. Go ahead, hit post, Asks me if I want to do a DEX. In this case, I'm not going to, so I'm going to say no to that. Now I've got my scribbly signature on here, and the box to say what that said. Dan the buyer. And I go ahead and hit continue. And now I've got my invoices, and I can see on here, here's my outbound invoice, number 1. And I can continue. If I wanted to print, I would print 3 copies of this one. Go ahead and hit continue. Here's my known shortage report, so where I made those changes, I can go ahead and see that. I hit continue. Now it takes me directly to my payment screen. If I wanted to collect the payment on here, I could do that. I can go and hit click new, and now I'll see I've got cash, check, and credit card. Let's say we're going to collect some money on here if we want to. If not, I can just hit post, and this particular customer is allowed to collect AR, so I go directly ahead. Same sort of thing. It's going to prompt me. I'm just going to post these all to AR because I've got the 3 different documents, and I've now taken out of my screen. I can go ahead, hit my finish stop because I've done everything I needed to do. Hit finish stop, and it says, oops, no, I've got a required survey that hasn't been performed. So if I look at that required survey, I can go over here and see, well, there's a customer satisfaction survey that's required. I can go in here, choose my customer satisfaction. Is there a manager available? Yes, there is. Please rank my customer satisfaction. Well, let's say we were okay today. Let's give ourselves a 6. Not great. What can we do to rank higher next time? Show up on time would be a good one. And I've completed that customer satisfaction. I now have that information to flow back to my office. Maybe a customer service manager gets triggered out of that. Maybe some escalation. I now try to hit finish stop, and I come back out here. My pita pit has gone from a red truck to a green truck, indicating I've completed my delivery of my pre-sold order. I've done all the things that I needed to do, and I can finish my day or proceed to my next stop. And that's how we do a delivery of a pre-sold order, with lots of little tricks on other things to do as we're out in the field. Thank you very much.